Hello, and welcome to another edition of Deep Thoughts with Otter Creek. Well, this weekend was a complete bust trying to do anything on the layout. Had several little things kind of pop up that prevented me from doing anything substantive on the layout. Had some storms Friday night, lost the electricity, and lost the refrigerator. And, before the wife left for work, she gave me that look. You know the one that says, "Don't you dare play with trains unless you fix my refrigerator." You've seen it. So, I played with trains anyway. I did try and fix the refrigerator. I failed miserably. And that led to the purchase of a new refrigerator. She likes it. And I also had to repair the lawnmower because it needed some maintenance and the yard had gotten a little shaggy. So the weekend just wasn't conducive to doing anything in the layout room. And sometimes when you go to do something, if you feel like you're forcing it, that's a sign that you should just take a step back and not force things, because that's how frustrations happen and things get thrown across the room. And I don't want that to happen. So I thought, since it's been a while since I'd done a Deep Thoughts with Otter Creek, I would do another installment. Now, on these Deep Thoughts with Otter Creek, I like to ask my viewers questions, just to be different. And so, my first question, for those who would like to leave a comment: what do you do when you feel like you need to step away from the layout? Either for burnout, or maybe something specifically is going on with the layout or the project that you're working on, and you need to walk away. What is it that you go and do instead of losing your cool? I'm just curious. This weekend, I got the time saver up and running because it had been kind of down and some of the electronics had been scavenged for other projects. And I thought, what I need to do is run some trains on something with some scenery. So that's what I did. Now, I have one more question, and this is a question that I like to ask, if I ever have a chance to talk to anyone who's a model railroader. And that's, what kind of model railroader are you? I've got this broke down into 5 generalized areas, and that's the engineer, the electrician, the historian, the modeler, and the collector. Now, I think all of us are a combination of these things and not just one in its entirety. Myself, I believe I'm a modeler first, and then probably an engineer second. I'm not sure. I should probably try and explain what I mean by these if they're not self-evident, but when I think of an engineer, I think of somebody who probably has worked for a railroad at one time. They know their prototypes extremely well. They're probably deep into operations, and they know all of the ins and outs of how a railroad really works, and they're just extremely intelligent about all of those things. Now, the electrician, of course, is someone who loves to tinker with electronics. They probably like the DCC aspect of things, messing with CVs on the decoders and things like that. They probably get into Arduino, just other little side projects that aren't specifically having to do with model railroading, but are kind of parallel with it, if you will. The historian is the guy that's really in tune with what the railroad is representing in the real life. In other words, they're doing an area, maybe 60 miles between point A and point B, and they're doing everything to the T as best they can, given the space allowed, to model their prototype, sometimes down to the very day of something that happened. I could very easily be a historian under different circumstances, because I am intrigued by that aspect of the hobby. Now, the modeler, that's the person who loves building models, painting, scenery, a lot of the things that maybe other people don't like about the hobby, because they don't think they're very good at it or whatever. But someone who got into the hobby probably from a different hobby, where they were doing other things like, modeling airplanes, military modelers. I myself was a war gamer, and I've painted hundreds, if not thousands, of wargaming miniatures. So, I'm definitely model focused in my approach to how I do things. The last type is the collector, and this is a person who just enjoys collecting anything and everything that has to do with model railroad and or prototypes. There's a lot of guys that have lots of locomotives and cars, but maybe don't even have a layout. So I know those guys are out there. So I'm just curious, I've got a lot of people who watch the channel. Not a lot of you leave comments, not near as many leave comments as view. So if there's anybody out there that's never left a comment before, drop me a line, let me know, are you a model railroader, and where do you fit into this? And if I've missed something, if there's a whole nother category of model railroader that I've left out, let me know. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.